We are on Menachot Perik Yud Aleph, Mishnah Zayin. 7th Mishnah in the 11th chapter of Masechet Menachot. We're talking about the process of the offering of the lechem hapanim, the showbreads. So the Mishnah says the following. Shnei shulchanot ayu be'ulam b'bifnim al petach habayit. There were two tables in the ulam, in the courtyard, in the hallway, b'bifnim, inside the ulam, al petach habayit, on the entrance to the Beit HaMikdash. Echad shel shayish ve'echad shel zahav. One was of shayish. Shayish is marble, and one was made of gold. Al shel shayish nodim lechem hapanim b'knisato. Okay, they would put the lechem hapanim, meaning when they would go, we're going to see that they would go and like switch, kind of Indiana Jones like, switch the lechem hapanim. So they would prepare the bread, bake the bread, and put it on the marble table b'knisato, when they would bring it in. Al shel zahav b'yitziato, and they would put the bread that they were removing, that they're taking out, on the golden table. Why? Famous rule, Shema'alim b'kodesh v'lo moridin. Very famous rule. We always elevate in sanctity. We don't lower in sanctity. Okay, ve'achad shel zahav b'vnim, and there was of course the table of gold inside. She'alav lechem hapanim tamid. That the lechem hapanim were always on. It says that the to be lechem hapanim was always on there. Tamid. And we're going to see what the meaning of that was. Let's look at the. Okay, I'm trying to make this a little bit smaller. Let's look at the map of the Beit HaMikdash. So it's a little bit hard to read at this scale, but here's the mizbeach. Here's the ulam. Okay, and the way, and you can't see it. Here's the, if you can read it, it's tiny. Here's the shulchan shayish. They just like kind of drew in a place here. Shulchan zahav, they had a place here. So it was in the sort of entrance hallway, that big entrance hallway. And here's where the shulchan, the lechem hapanim, was. Let's go back to the Mishnah. Arba kohanim nichnesim. So 4 kohanim would be entering. Shnayim biyadam shnei sedarim. 2 of them would have the 2 sedarim, the 2 sets, the 2 orders of like 6, carrying 6 showbreads. Ushnayim biyadam shnei bezichim, and 2 of them had the 2 bezichim, the 2 bowls of, in their hands they each carry 2 bowls of the incense, of the frankincense. That was the more, we're going to see the critical part, one of the critical part of lechem hapanim. We all know about the showbreads, but we often forget about the bezichim. Ve'arba mikadmim lifneihem, 2 and 4 people go before them. Shnayim litol shnei sedarim, 2 of them to remove 2 of the 2 sedarim, ushnayim litosh shnei bezichim, and 2 to remove the 2 bezichim. Okay, I think there's a picture we have, a drawing of this. It's exactly that. You see the picture. I mean, you don't see the 4 guys, but here you can see 2 of them are carrying these huge breads. Okay, because remember they use a tremendous amount of flour and oil, and these 2 guys have the 2 bezichim, and now we're going to have these. They have to remove the 2 breads. Now, actually, this picture is actually totally inaccurate, because if you recall, we learned in the Mishnah that they removed. Before Shabbat, you couldn't, these gold cross beams things, they removed them. You're not allowed to place them in the shulchan on Shabbat, or remove them. So they removed them before. So this should really actually be a pile, just like this. And not, and they would be reset. These reeds, these 28 reeds that we learned about, they would be reset after Shabbat. So another inaccuracy in this. When you learn the Mishnah, you see that these pictures are not entirely accurate. What can you do? We do the best we can. Okay, so amachnisim omdim betzafon upnehem ledarom. Those people entering, they would stand in the north, and their faces. Okay, they would stand in the north here, facing the south. There. Okay, this is the north. You can't see it, but this is the north side, and this is the south side. And the guys taking out v'hamotziim, the people removing the lechem, omdim bedarom. They stay in the south. Upnehem letzafon, facing. So they're facing each other, opposite sides of the lechem hapanim. So while the people took out, while the 2 guys remove, so they're sliding and the other people are sliding in. They shouldn't be more than a tefach apart. So you're just like sliding and removing. You're sliding and removing at the same time. Why? Because it says the bread should be tamid, always before me. So therefore the Tanna Kama felt you didn't ever want to have a period of time where there wasn't lechem hapanim. Rabbi Yossi says, "Afilu elu nodlim ve'elu minichim avzu hayta tamid." Rabbi Yossi is like, calm down, it's okay. You don't have to have like literally sliding in, sliding out. You can remove one and bring the other one in, and that's also considered tamid always, meaning the brief moment where you're switching is not considered a lack. I don't know who we paskin like, but I imagine that they probably follow the Tanna Kama. Okay, what is tamid? Rabbi Yossi says, "Ein tamid ela shelo yalin shulchan laila echad below lechem." So Rabbi Yossi says the lack of tamid would be if it was missing an entire night. Yatsu v'nanu al shulchan shezahav shaya ba'ulan. So then they would remove them and place them, remember, on the golden table outside. Hiktiru habezichim, they offer the bezichim, they would offer them on the mizbeach. Then v'achalot mitchalkot lakohanim. Then the chalot would be offered to the kohanim. Why? Because the bezichim is what's called the matir. You cannot eat the bread until the offering of the incense. Incense was the last thing that permitted the consumption of the bread. Then they would be consumed. Chal Yom Kippurim liyot Shabbat. Remember, they're doing it all. They switch on Shabbat. So what if it's Yom Kippur? Because they can't eat the bread. Then chalot mitkarvot le'erev. Then the chalot could be offered during the night, in the evening. Chal liyot erev. So the bread would wait until they were divided up. Chal liyot erev Shabbat. What happens if Yom Kippur? No, just totally non sequitur. But once we're talking about Yom Kippur falling on a day, so what happens if Yom Kippur fell on erev Shabbat? What's the problem? Sa'ir shel Yom Kippurim ne'echal le'erev. The sa'ir of Yom Kippur was offered, and it had to be consumed. It had to be consumed that night. The problem is it's Shabbat, and you can't cook it. So what do you have to do? So the Mishnah says, Habavliim ochlim oto kshu chai. The Babylonians would eat the animal would eat this gedi, this goat that was raw. They would eat raw goat meat. Because their da'at, their knowledge, or their attitude was yafa, was proper, was good. All of this is is paraphrasing. Who are these Bablim? Bablim are Kohanim she'alu mi Bavel. The Kohanim that made Aliyah from Bavel. So they had, in Bavel, they ate, I don't know what's it called, when you slice the meat raw, and it's very finely sliced, and whatever that's called. So people eat raw meat. We eat raw fish now. People thought that was gross for a gazillion years, but nowadays they do it. So, but the Gemara says, the lo Bablim hayu. They weren't from Bavel. El Alexandriim hayu. They were from Alexandria. Okay? So why did they call them Bablim? The Talmidei Chachamim hated the Babylonians. Why did they hate the Babylonians? Mostly they hate the Babylonians because the Babylonians stayed in Babylonia. And they're like, here, we're trying to build a Jewish community. We're trying to build the Beit HaMikdash. And you guys are like, Jewish life in Babylonia is fine. Why do you want to come? So therefore, Karula Alexandriim Shosim Ma'aseh Rab Tanut Babliim. The idea that people would eat raw meat they found was disgusting, was Rab Tanut, was gluttony. So they called them Bablim because Bablim, that was their pejorative term for people they didn't like. So the Bablim would eat it when it's raw, because they were not grossed out by eating raw meat. But I always found this fascinating in the Mishnah that the Gemara says that Chachamim called anyone they hated Bablim, and why? Because the Babylonians stayed in Babylonia. We'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.